Good morning, televiewers of My Media Prime Television. Here on to your favorite bilingual program, The Brief, dedicated to the review of striking headlines in the papers. On today's edition of the program, the newspapers are focusing on the warning of the Social Democratic Front Party, calling the attention of the government not to turn away from the rising commodity prices in the country. In a recent outing, the leading opposition political party warned the government not to play with what the paper or the party terms fire. We shall tell you more in this edition of the program. And equally, in the northwest and the southwest regions, Ambazonia fighters continue to wreak havoc in some communities, as we are told over 72 or over 19 workers of the Cameroon Development Corporation CDC have been kidnapped by men believed to be Ambazonia fighters. That was in Idina, as we are told. We shall tell you more on that and many other headlines as captured by newspapers today in Cameroon. Gwladys Bomotonguina is here. Let's find out what she gathered for us in the French language newspapers. Bonjour Gwladys.
Bonjour Lasha. Bonjour à vous et au plaisir de vous retrouver, fidèles téléspectateurs de My Media Prime, pour votre émission débrief ce matin. Alors, en ce jour, nous allons débuter avec le journal Ouest Echo. Ouest Echo ce matin qui nous parle de Banca dans le Noun. Ce lacisme qui prépare au chaos, c'est du moins ce qu'explique le journal Ouest Echo ce matin. Qui laisse donc rabaisser l'autorité de l'État? C'est la question posée par Ouest Echo ce matin. En effet, un chef ligoté et fessé par son subalterne à Banca. Un gendarme capturé et conduit chez le sultan. Pendant ce temps, que fait le gouvernement? Du moins, c'est la question, ce sont les multiples questions que pose le journal Ouest Echo ce matin. SABC, la grande odyssée camerounaise du manager de Taily, c'est du moins ce que nous révèle le journal Ouest Echo ce matin. En page 7, le journal nous parle de la lutte contre la corruption au Cameroun. La CONAC déploie donc son plan d'action 2022 pour la région de l'Ouest Cameroun. Mesdames, Messieurs, nous continuons ce matin avec le journal Réalité Plus. Le journal Réalité Plus nous parle ici d'un ouf de soulagement de 6 heures de négociation entre le ministre Grégoire Oona qui temporise dans les syndicats des enseignants. Les détails sont en page 8 et 9 du journal quotidien Réalité Plus ce matin. En page 2 et 3, le journal nous parle d'un total soutien aux militaires, policiers et gendarmes douaniers. Ils sont donc au service du peuple 7 jours sur 7. Nous clôturons, mesdames, messieurs, avec Investig Info. Investig Info qui nous parle ce matin du Global Index Award 2022. Le Cameroun a la Palme d'Or. Le 3 mai 2022, aux États-Unis d'Amérique, le vert jaune a encore illuminé le monde. À l'issue des votes pour le choix du plus grand projet, du plus grand événement de l'année 2022. Les détails sont donc en page 2 du journal Investig Info ce matin. En page 4, le journal nous parle de liberté et de la presse au Cameroun, appelle à plus de soutien et à l'harmonie internationale obligatoire. Les détails sont donc effectivement en page 4 de ce journal et Investig Info ce matin. En page 7, le journal nous parle de l'hôpital général de Douala, des cœurs ouverts pour plus de santé. Mesdames, Messieurs, c'est tout pour vos titres en langue française. Place à la découverte des titres en langue anglaise avec toi, Lasha.
Thank you. Start this morning with the Guardian Post newspaper. The Guardian Post this morning is interested in what I told you in my introduction. The Social Democratic Front Party, SDA of John Frundi, warns government against playing with fire. And this is coming after the rising commodity prices in the country. The leading opposition political party, the Social Democratic Front Party, the SDF, has warned government against looking away while impoverished Cameroonians are battling with rising commodity prices in the country, in what looks like cautioning Yaoundé against taking the dormancy of Cameroonians for granted. The SDF, in a statement, warned that such a development tantamounts to playing with fire. It went further to urge government to immediately and appropriately arrest the escalation of price hikes in the country, talking about commodity price in the country, especially for basic commodities and services. More details on page 8 of this edition of the said newspaper. And the Ambazonia fighters have kidnapped 19 CDC workers in Edina. The paper tells us further that gunmen believed to be Ambazonia fighters in the two English-speaking regions of the country, this time around in Edina, kidnapped 19 workers of the Cameroon Development Corporation, CDC. The workers are said to have been adopted in the night of Monday, breaking Tuesday, May 17, 2022. This was in the Edina Palm Estate in West Coast Subdivision, Fako Division of the Southwest region of the country. Let's talk about these utterances or this outing by Professor Julius Ngo in this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper, talking about the Anglophone crisis, failure to respect Foncha Ahijo Fumban deal is what is causing the Anglophone crisis, as Professor Julius Ngo said. The eminent professor of history, Victor Julius Ngo, has posited that the root cause of what has come to be known as the Anglophone crisis is the failure to respect the terms of the deal John Gu Foncha sealed with former president, the late Amadou Ahijo, in Fumban. The Fumban Constitutional Conference of July 17 through 21, 1961 was a gathering that gave birth to a federal republic of the country, or federal structure, following the reunification of Southern Cameroons and La République du Cameroun. The federal structure, according to the said newspaper, the federal structure of the country made way for a unitary state. 50 years on, Professor Julius Ngo maintains that the disorder raging in the two English-speaking regions of the country is as a result of or the direct consequences of the failure to respect the terms that was agreed upon by Ahijo and Foncha in Fumban during that historic gathering in Fumban. More details on page 3 of this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. On to the Sun newspaper. The Sun is talking about captured Senator Mundi under threat of being executed before 20th May. Peoples shuttled through good streets in Bamenda to write government common entrance. Many more students are taking part in the exams this year in the strife-stricken southwest and northwest regions of Cameroon. More details in this edition of the Sun newspaper, talking about what students or peoples had to go through yesterday before sitting in for the government common entrance examination into Form 1 and Form 1 of General and Technical Education. On to Municipal Updates. Municipal Updates newspaper is also interested in what people went through yesterday. The paper tells us that over there in Kumba, peoples overcome hurdles, write government common entrance examination into Form 1, and equally in Municipal Updates newspaper, to enhance decentralization, the Minister of Decentralization urges councils to prioritize salaries and the insurance dues of workers. We end this morning with Newswatch newspaper, which is revisiting the deal or the military cooperation that was signed between Moscow and Yaoundé. Despite disturbing Yaoundé-Moscow military pact, U.S. ambassador says relations with Cameroon not strained. You can get more details in this edition of the set newspaper, talking about the audience that was granted the new U.S. ambassador to Cameroon by the minister delegate at the presidency in charge of defense, Joseph Betty Asomo. And the said ambassador said Cameroon is a sovereign state and has the right to sign any military cooperation of that type with any country that she chooses to sign with. More details on page 3 of this edition of Newswatch newspaper. Thank you for watching, televiewers. We are back in the studio to continue with our discussion this morning. Amadou Tante is joining us. He is a civil society actor, and he's always with us. Good morning, sir, and welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Lasha. Thank you once more for making it possible for me to be here. It's always a privilege for me to be a guest on your program.
Yes, so many headlines in the papers. The Social Democratic Front Party, the leading opposition political party in the country, is warning the government to stop playing with what the party terms fire. We're talking about rising commodity prices in the country, and the Social Democratic Front equally said government should step up wages of workers in the country.
No, that's absolutely right. The Social Democratic Front is really on the right track, because when it terms this issue fire, it really, the Social Democratic Front really means it, and it's actually fire, because we all know very well that if the government can continuously, despite all the problems we already have in the country, if the government can allow the persistent price rise, allow the prices of different basic commodities to continue rising, in fact, it's really fire, because it can spark a serious tension or social unrest that will not be an easy one, because most often Cameroonians has been Cameroonians has been frustrated on different grounds. On most of this, all the other option left for them now, for Cameroonians to be managing their little things that they are doing in order to earning their living on daily basis. But if the price of basic commodities can come in again and continue to start skyrocketing the way it has been doing recently, and the government is doing virtually a little or nothing, there is fear that if something is not done as soon as possible, so something bad might happen.
Okay, something bad might happen, like you rightly said, but can the government really control these prices? As we have reports, confirmed reports, that the IMF has seized the budget for 2022 and government is barely surviving.
No, I would think the government can control the prices, because now they are trying to link everything with regard to the crisis that is happening in Ukraine. Even some of the products that are fabricated in Cameroon here, the prices are skyrocketing, but they are telling us that if I don't know if they are telling us that
we are talking about IMF seizing budget. You know, Cameroon borrowed a lot of money from the International Monetary Fund, and we have reports from other unconfirmed sources that the budget of Cameroon for 2022 has been hijacked or seized by the International Monetary Fund, and the little money that comes in, the government is using the little money to pay civil servants and fund the war in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. So there's nothing like investment or whatever stuff left for the government now.
Well, I don't know, as you said, it's an unconfirmed report. We don't know whether it's true or false, but the issue here is that our government, since our government prefers to use their money in fighting war, in fighting the same people that the government claims to be protecting, than looking for ways of resolving the problem we have, and equally doing everything possible to reduce the price of basic commodities we have. Because another problem here is not that Cameroon have problem of money. I don't think Cameroon has problem of money. The problem is mismanagement. That's bad governance that we have in place, not for the issue of money. Whether the IMF is taking money or not, I know that there is a lot of money here in Cameroon, but our major problem is mismanagement. At least these people need to step up and try to manage this. The little one we might have. I believe that we wouldn't have any problem with regard to this, the basic commodities, because the government, I believe that the government can control everything without any problem.
Est-ce qu'on peut dire ici là que ces personnes-là veulent pousser les Camerounais à bout intentionnellement?
I don't think so. I don't think so, because even though the government has a role to play with regard to this, what is happening, the government has a very big role to play, and IMF too, as an international organ, has its own role to play. The government needs to first of all make sure that they respect. If the IMF is doing whatsoever they are doing, as people are saying, it is only because the government have not respected the engagement that they signed with the IMF with regard to this issue of borrowing money and all the likes.
And now we are talking about that, and a minister has been accused of auctioning Cameroon's minerals to foreigners. We saw videos of some prominent politicians, members of parliament, who went on social media demonstrating the devastating consequences of that set project on the Republic of Cameroon.
I think those are some of the terrible things that are happening in Cameroon for quite a long time now, because there are a lot of resources that are preferred to be managed by the by the government itself. But sometimes we are being told that the government has taken resources and liquidated to other foreign countries, and when these countries take ownership of take leadership of this things or these minerals, it will become a very big problem for our country, because we are not even going to benefit from this thing, because most of them, what is coming out from there are being
something that is supposed to be sold for the Cameroon government gave it out for 2,500, and then the company in turn, the price at the level of the international market is 95,000 francs. Is it not the giveaway we are talking about? Why would a patriotic Cameroonian, a minister of that sort, go and sign a contract of that nature?
It's really a funny thing. Well, I don't first of all know. I'm not even that if a minister can decide to make such a sign such a contract alone without consulting all his hierarchy and other things as well. Because I believe that for a minister to do such a thing,
Cameroonians now they say they don't want it. The Cameroonians are saying they don't want it.
No, these ministers are barely, as we say, I often said here that these ministers are barely representing the Cameroonian, the government, which is Cameroonian. If the Cameroonian things, that is not the right thing that has been done by the minister.
So you guys, as human rights defenders, those who are defending the rights of Cameroonians, what are you people doing? What are you thinking of doing? Because it's clear the contract, some sources have reviewed and they have shown us the terms of the contract, which is really, really a bad one for the state of the Republic.
No, actually, I would say here that once the government, from every indication, I have not made a proper report yet, because the first thing when something as such happens, we have to first of all carry on a proper research to be certain, have to clear facts to be sure of what really is happening. And when we have the clear facts on what is happening, and it is clear that what the government has given out and the price and other things that are affiliated to it is not the right thing, and we think we will advocate for the government to take back what has been done, to cancel back the contract that has been signed with the said.
And this is just one in a series of scandals, Gwladys. The same minister has been accused of, the minister and an Australian firm, they have been accused of trying, to dupe the government of the Republic of Cameroon with a woofing sum of 94 billion with an Australian mining company.
It's really, those are some kind of things that we have been talking in Cameroon here on daily basis, because there are some things, so allegations that are levied against some top-ranking authorities, and what is supposed to be done is that when something as allegations come as such, at least the government should first of all do everything possible to investigate the person, the minister or the director concerned, and see actually if what they are saying, the people are accusing him or her is true. If it is true, at least the government should do everything possible to take back those things and sanction the minister accordingly. But if the government cannot do such a thing, we keep repeating itself. If we are talking about the other one you just said here, and equally the issue of a Kribi, these things and all the and the same thing is still repeating after the other. I mean, when nothing has been done with regard to the first one, it's really ridiculous. At least the government should keep up and try to take some serious action against or sanctions against these ministers who are found guilty or some things as such are deemed not to be the right track.
Because ok, Gwladys.
Est-ce que ces compagnies occidentales-là qui signent ces contrats abusifs avec ces ministres-là, est-ce qu'ils ne peuvent pas être suivis pour rembourser effectivement l'argent du contribuable camerounais qu'ils ont pris injustement? Parce qu'on parle ici d'une différence de près de 7 000 francs.
Yes, that's the thing, because the issue here is that when you sign a contract with somebody, if you are signing some contract with somebody and it's deemed that the contract we are signing, sometimes it's not every contract, you might have signed a contract, but it's not all the contract that will be valid. There are some terms of contract, even the terms of contract that are deemed not to be on the right track.
Because they have to exploit that mineral in that, I think is in the South region, right? For 50 years, and in course of 50 years, like Cabral Libi and other guys have demonstrated, they will be selling as per what they sign for 75,000, but they are giving to the government of the Republic of Cameroon 2,500 francs. Does it mean that the minister did not take time to read through the terms of the contracts and they handed it over to other colleagues to read through, or what is actually happening that we keep having same issues repeating itself?
We Africans or our leaders, they believe in the white supremacy. So sometimes, most of them, when they are even doing some of these things with these white men, they don't take their proper time to investigate, to read the content of the contract well. But anyway, should in case that's what happened after
but what about reconciling it with the realities of the international market? Yes. Yes, you know that this is sold at the level of the international market at this price. Why should we give it at this price without first of all looking at the selling price probably at the level of the international market? We're talking about something that will be exploited for 50 years.
I think everything needs to be relooked on it again. I think they need to take time and look at the contract well and see what is really happening. In fact, something wrong. There's something wrong somewhere. At least something needs to be done as fast as possible by the government and by the hierarchy of the minister to see that everything is maybe revised or the contract is cancelled.
Would that not be the breach of contract?
No, it might not be a breach of contract.
And us taxpayer will have now to, bear the consequences by paying this company, because if we have to breach the contract, it means that we are going to pay off this company because there are some terms of the contract that was agreed on.
No, it's not because there are some terms. There are some contract. Not because it's a contract has been signed to me means that the contract was valid. There are some terms of the contract or some things that have been done. Because you cannot buy something that is being sold for 10,000 francs and 1,000 francs, and we sign a contract to that effect. After you are claiming that you have the right to that, say that the contract was valid. Meanwhile, you know very well that the value of what you bought for 1,000 francs is not equal to 1,000. Something that should be expected to be at least minimum 10,000 francs, and you claim that the contract is right. That one is not true.
Mais est-ce qu'à ce niveau-là, le gouvernement camerounais ne peut pas réclamer cet argent, ce surplus d'argent à cette compagnie européenne?
No, the government have to reclaim after reclaim its audit. That's what I was saying, that it's either the government cancel the contract with them, which is
and cancelling the contract means that the government will have to pay some money to this company. You cannot just cancel a contract like that, a contract that was valid. It means that we have to pay off the companies.
Well,
they
it might
may
not
be demanding millions of US dollars.
It might not necessarily be cancellation, but
of course, it's a Chinese company. You know what we are talking about.
I think the government needs to first of all, if not cancel, the government needs to first of all dialogue with the people. Well, again, tell them, make them understand certain things, that this minister did anything either out of error or whatsoever error he did, or there's something.
Is there not a kind of manipulation from that Chinese company?
That was I was saying, that the government need to proper investigation to know what actually happened, because this is really unreasonable. Because even a little child of 1 or 2 years cannot go ahead and begin to sell something for 2,500 that ought to be sold for 10,000 francs. At least the government need to carry out some research investigation to know exactly what is wrong to see how to adjust things.
Okay, to see how to adjust things. Amadou Tante, let's talk about CDC workers who have come under attack once again from suspected Ambazonian fighters. Recently, 19 of them at the Idina, Palm Estate in West Coast Subdivision, Fako Division of the Southwest, were adopted by men believed to be Ambazonian fighters. This keeps repeating itself. Every day you keep denouncing there are rules when it comes to war. Civilians should be left
It's really ridiculous that these things are still happening, because I don't know what the separatist fighters, the things the separatist fighters are now doing, I don't think it's normal. Because continuously kidnapping your own people, you claim to be fighting to protect them, is really ridiculous. At least they should allow these people go ahead with their whatsoever they are doing. Even yesterday, it was really unfortunate that I saw that there was a lockdown in some certain parts of Anglophone regions, claiming that they don't want students to go and write their first school. I don't know the kind of future that they want these children to have. At least the separatist fighters should stop doing these things. But those are the kind of things that they are nurturing gradually, and very soon these same people would obviously rise against them. If they are not careful, they obviously rise against them because of some of these type of things that they are doing.
Do they really know what they are doing?
Actually, that's what that's baffling me. I don't know actually if these people know what they are doing. At least kidnapping people cannot change anything. You should go after the defense and security forces that they are fighting with them and continue to fight with them, targeting civilians in times of war, anything as such. It's a very wrong strategy. These people need to review their strategy and know exactly who they are fighting with. They are not fighting against the population or the civilian population. They are fighting against the government, and these people are to go directly to the defense and security forces and target them. Stop targeting civilians, or target civilians because of ideology. Because some people civilians are being captured or kidnapped because they don't share the same opinion with the separatist fighters, and these people are claiming to fighting for their own freedom, their own rights. And this right is the right to freedom of expression, right to be able to do things their own way. And you don't want another person to do it on or his or her own on their own way. If someone is opposing you because you don't share the same opinion with the person, in fact, it's a beginning. Where democracy begins, the foundation of democracy is misunderstanding, it's divergence. And then this will allow anyone to freely express his or her rights and go about with those they are involved with them in hostility. That's the defense and security force, and continue their fight with them and allow civilians, because it's very risky attacking civilians. Because it's unfortunate that if they continue doing like that, I'm tempted to say that these same civilians might one day rise against them.
What about the international community? Why are they reluctant to term the movement or the people who belong to the movement terrorists?
I don't think the major problem here is terming the people who are involved in this movement terrorists or whatsoever by the international community, because the reality here is that the international community are not the ones that are coming to decide for us on how we stop, or those who are terrorists.
There are rules during wars.
Yes, there are rules during
wars. In other countries, after wars, you see people prosecuted, like what is still happening in Liberia and other countries that were at war. You see fine people being prosecuted up to today.
In many instances, the international community are coming either to share their experience with us or to guide us on how, like mediators to guide us on how what we can do to get out of the conflict. Because I believe that the major people to look and solve the problem are the Cameroonians themselves. So it's not that as if the international community is coming to do whatsoever. And that's why we continue asking the government to do everything possible to look into the issue, because the government has for some time now been very silent with regard to what is happening. Even some top-ranking officials of the government or that are working with the government are being kidnapped, killed on a daily basis, but the government has saying little or nothing to that effect. I don't really know if the lives of those who are working with the government in these conflict regions are equally important to the government. I think we should go for the government to step up measures to see that we come out of this. We say that the solution is not violence. Violence will never solve the problem. At least it's only a way out. A way out can only be through dialogue with the belligerent forces or the other warring parties for us to come out of the ongoing crisis.
Schools have been touched, hospitals touched.
Yes.
Now we are talking about hygiene and sanitation company Nsah that is apparently under threat of being banned from Chief Town Bamenda by Ambazona Defense Forces. We saw the self-styled Deputy Defense spokesperson, Capo Daniel, talking and warning that they don't want Nsah in the northwest region. And health, we are talking about sanitation force under health, which is one of the no-go zone when it comes to fighting war. Do these people really understand? Do they know?
That's why we keep saying that sometimes they act as if they don't understand what they are doing, because even the health problems, if Nsah stop from their activities of carrying out these things, and there's health, if a result to health problem or whatsoever, they too don't know that they can equally be victims of issues as such, because I don't know in what way the work that Nsah are doing on the field is going to disturb them from the war they are fighting. At least they should go and continue their war, allow Nsah out of these things. I don't see anything that Nsah is doing that is hampering their activities or whatsoever they are doing.
Ok, Amadou Tanté, 6 heures de négociations clôturées entre Grégoire Orona et les syndicats des enseignants. Eh bien, une meilleure approche que les menaces peut-être.
Well, let me first of all start here by appreciating the measures taken by the ground. But I'll first of all tell you here that I've not yet seen the communique from the leaders of OTS, because I've only seen the communique from the Minister of Labour and Social Security, because we cannot say whether what the ground is saying is true or false, because we don't know actually if the leaders who were represented on that meeting are the leaders of OTS, because we are still waiting for the communique of the OTS to come out for us to be able to judge and say whether something positive have come out of the meeting. At least we are praying that something should be true, that what Grégoire is saying is what has happened between the leaders, and these people have given their accord with regard to what happened.
Why is there so much lack of coordination and communication within government sector? You have a minister saying A, another one is the other way saying B. Recently, Paul Tanganji instructed regional governors to arrest leaders of this OTS and OTA, and yesterday Grégoire Orona was talking with them.
Our government, you know that we have a very confused government right now, and each and everyone is doing things his or her own way, the way that pleases him. I don't even know whether they consult their hierarchy or something.
Don't you think there is an issue of an Anglophone minister and a Francophone minister?
No, I don't think that. We prefer some Francophone minister than Atanganji, who seem
no, I'm saying so because sometimes the Prime Minister was in Bamenda trying to, when the Prime Minister went preaching peace, another minister was on an international media talking another thing which went contrary to what the PM was saying. And Tanganji is saying his own. Grégoire Orona this time around.
Yeah, that is true. But what we keep saying is that the part of the marginalization of Anglophone includes, we have often said that it includes the leaders, Anglophone leaders that are top-ranking position in Cameroon. Because if you look critically very well, you notice that even in Cameroon here, even the Anglophones who are in top-ranking position, like the Prime Minister, who is supposed to be the head of all these ministers, he too is just like a ceremonial minister. His own role is only to go and install people or inaugurate hospitals and all those kind of things. But we have somebody who is ruling as the Prime Minister, which is the Secretary General of the Prime Minister's office.
That is
the reality.
He takes decision and gives proposal to the head of state.
If he was actually taking this, you cannot tell me that he was in Bamenda and Northwest and the Southwest preaching peace, looking for possible ways out of the crisis, giving other options that the government is accepting on the table, where another minister will go on Radio France International and begin to contradict what the Prime Minister was saying. In fact, the Prime Minister that is the leader, he is the head of all these ministers and they are under him. So if somebody who is a sub-minister or a minister under the Prime Minister is going to contradict the Prime Minister, you know what it means. Well, these Anglophones are just on ceremonial. They don't have real power to do anything.
Donc vous pensez que c'est parce que peut-être le ministre de l'administration territoriale n'a pas assez de pouvoir que Grégoire Orona a amené les présidents des syndicats à sa table?
No, I think Minister Atanganji is only, and they are only calling him, maybe I don't know if an Anglophone because he's not different from the Francophone, he's just part of them. I just know that Mr. Atanganji seems to be power drunk. So what he has been doing, is often acting or even intervening on fields or other ministers that does not concern him. So those are the kind of things Atanganji is doing.
But he's the Minister of Interior now. territorial
being the Minister of Interior does not mean that you have to. There's no, if the Minister of Interior could do the other things that are being done by other ministers, would have given him all the ministry and allow the other ministers aside and do not we needless appointing other ministers. Why he the Minister of Interior that can do any other thing that is needed within the country?
Amadou Tante, let's talk about what has brought us or the country where it is today. We are talking about Anglophone crisis, and a prominent history professor, Victor Julius Ngo, is saying that the failure to respect Foncha Ahijo Fumban deal is a root cause of what we are having today in the northwest and southwest regions.
Well, I think that is a very good one from Mr. Julius Ngo, Professor Julius Ngo, because there's one an Ireland president, Madame Mary Robinson, once said that the human rights violation or injustices we are suffering today are the cause, obviously going to be the causes of the conflict we'll have tomorrow. Because we are having this conflict today is because of the injustice that Anglophones suffered, or the human rights violation, the right that was violated initially when these people were claiming to be coming on this union that is happening today, because the terms of, as you were saying, the terms of the agreement.
Yeah, Professor Julius Ngo said the non-respect of the agreement that was sealed in Fumban in 1961 between Ahijo and Foncha is the problem that we are having in Cameroon, that if the federal constitution has been violated, it was the clauses or the terms of that constitution have been violated by those who are ruling us today. Reasons why we are where we are.
Actually, that is going in the same line what I was trying to say, because if this constitution were whatever by this agreement between these people were not respected, I mean that the rights of these Anglophones or their own was violated, and these rights were violated, and even though at the beginning very few number of Anglophones started agitating or advocating against what happened. And he was taking, these people took it very minimal. They never took it serious because they thought that it was a small group of people, and not knowing very well that these people were gradually gaining sympathizers, or so even some other people who were not supporting them were gradually getting courage to one day come out and begin to share the same ideology with them. And it's very, at least the government. Well, our government is well known for non-respect of the laws or the terms of contract or laws in place. So actually what Professor Julius Ngo is saying, I think it's really the cause of whatsoever we are going to them, because had it been these contracts or these agreements, these terms were being respected.
So what are you saying as a rights advocate? What are you saying, that we should go back to the federal structure? What should we do to get Cameroon out of the problem that we have today?
I think that's only my opinion. I think going back to the federal structure might be the
Some people are saying that the federal structure was very costly to run. That's the reason why Ahijo decided to do what he did, and before you know it, we are where we are today.
And I don't think that should be the problem. I don't think that the problem should be a problem, because the problem of being costful or something like that. Because I believe that if we go back to the federal system, at least it might solve the majority of the problem we're having today.
Really? And you think that coming together to have, you know, the Southern Cameroons, as it was formerly called, do you think the people of the Northwest, they feel more comfortable with the people from the Southwest than the people from the West region? Likewise, the people from the Southwest, they feel more comfortable with people from the littoral region?
No, I think.
Don't you think we'll have another problem?
No, I don't think there will be any problem, because the problems we are trying to have recently is our politicians who are trying, most often the politicians who are working with the government, they are trying to cause confusion within some rank of people. People who come out and begin to say that they are Anglophones, they are from the South and they are from these others.
No, when you look at culturally speaking, all of us know that somebody from the Northwest region is more is attached or comfortable with somebody from the region or the Bamileke lands than somebody from the Southwest region, when it comes to culturally sharing some cultural beliefs and tradition.
Yeah, I think that was then before the Anglophone regions were created, or the Anglophone regions was formed and all the like, because we know that most of the villages or most of the people coming from the Northwest region, they originate from the West region. And they are living with that culture, even with Anglophone. But I don't think that this one can be any problem. Whether those from the Southwest are more inclined to those from the littoral region, or those from the West are from the Northwest, it doesn't really matter. Those are just some kind of confusion that some group of people are trying to bring in order to tell us that no, if there is something needs to be done, they need to separate these people and go with it that way. Take this one and go mix this one. And it's only confusion. We say that we have Anglophones, and if there is anything to be done, so Anglophones should go separately their own way, and those that are Francophones should be on their own side.
Okay,
Ok, Amadou Tanté, on vous a très bien écouté ce matin. Effectivement, on va célébrer le 20 mai, hein, la fête de la réunification dans quelques jours, et ce sera sans le chef de l'État.
I don't think it should be. It should say Sangless chef is that. I think I read something somewhere that was telling me that it was also presided by the president of the republic. So when I hear you say chef d'etat, I don't know. Well, maybe it's because the head of state is not in the country for the moment.
But he can
but
see
we think that
he can see jet in at any moment.
Actually, that's what I was saying. He can still come in at
but
any
he
time.
has never stayed out for 1 week. When he goes out at least 2 weeks, you know. When he's going for private stay, I'm not talking about going to perform official duties.
Yeah, because we don't.
Hardly does he stay that short when he goes out of the country.
Because well, what you hear is that we don't know actually why he went there. Even though we were told some people are speculating that it was for health reasons and all that, but we don't know what is happening because we have a lot of problems here in Cameroon. That sometimes he can be going out from maybe for a diplomatic mission, even though they are saying that he went for a private stay. Because I know it's not everything that we have that they have to inform the public about it. We don't know actually why he went there. But that notwithstanding, with regard to this,
so a 20th May without President Paul Biya. What kind of 20th May?
No, everything is possible. Whether with President Paul Biya or without President Paul Biya, it doesn't really matter. It's true that the celebration will take place because I don't see anything special that is done by President Paul Biya that cannot be done by
Can we now say that the reasons why festivities were cancelled for this year's celebration was because President Paul Biya foresaw his trip, that he was going to travel at that time?
Well, I cannot really say. I know that the issue of COVID-19 we have always with the issue of COVID-19, but we know very well that have been part of the problem. It might be that because the health situation of the president could not permit the president to be coming out very oftenly to attend such ceremonies, so I cannot really tell.
Ok, parlant donc du défilé du 20 mai dans la ville de Douala, le préfet du Vouri a annoncé qu'il n'y aura que 7 partis politiques qui sont permis de participer à ce défilé dans la ville de Douala.
Well, I don't know the reason why the SDO should be limiting the number of political parties that are supposed to participate in this issue, because when they are giving privilege to other political parties and refusing others from participating, it's equally a very gross violation to their right of public manifestation and all that.
Especially when they don't have representatives at the National Assembly and Senate?
No, it doesn't matter. Once there's a political party, whether you have a representative at the National Assembly,
because you are more valuable when you have representatives of the nation at the level of the National Assembly.
Once you have an official document that is saying that you are or you are operating officially, you have the right to participate on all these type of things. It doesn't really matter whether you are in parliament or you are not in parliament. Once you have a document attesting that this one is an official political party that has that have a legal backing, at least I don't see any reason why these people should be there. They should not be given that opportunity to march as well as other political parties.
Donc, selon vous, Amadou Tanté, c'est une violation de leurs droits?
No, it's actually a violation of their own right. These people should be, if they decide not to march, there's that problem. Maybe they are boycotted or whatsoever. But
maybe you have political parties with 3 of their family members. You know, in Cameroon, we have so many political parties that are in court useless. They don't have militants. Somebody picks 1 or 2, 3 members of their families and then calls it a political party because they want to gain 1 or 2 things from Yaoundé. Don't you think those are the kind of political parties that the SDO has sidelined?
I don't think that should be a problem, because if the government accepts to give authorization to a political party, then it means that the government has to give the political party all the right that it deserves. You cannot say that maybe they think that some of these political parties does not have majority or they don't have followers, that they will not allow them to march. Once they have given them that opportunity, once they have given them that authorization, it means that they have the right like any other party. Whether it's only a single person, allow a single person to go and march to exercise his or her own rights as well.
Okay, Amadou Tanté, let's talk diplomacy now. The new U.S. ambassador to Cameroon, Lamora, was at the Ministry of Defense of Cameroon. He met with Joseph Beti Asomo, and shortly after the meeting, he revealed that relations with the United States of America, Cameroon and the United States of America, has not been strained as a result of the military cooperation ties that was signed between Yaoundé and Moscow recently. And many people were talking about that Cameroon has turned away from its traditional partners or friends when it comes to military cooperation. Many people were already worried why Cameroon has signed that, that military pact with Russia. And the U.S. ambassador has put to rest that debate.
Well, actually, I think it's true. What the U.S. ambassador is saying is true. I don't think there's any rupture.
Don't you think it's just diplomatic language?
No, I don't think it's only diplomatic, because the issue here is that in real sense of it, a country does not depend on maybe a military support only from one country, because it should not be straight.
When we talk about
that what happened between Cameroon and Russia is something is not happening for the first time. They're only renewing that contract. I mean, that's something that has been existing before, because this time around, I think these things is being looked in a funny way, either because there's war in Russia or because we have a problem in Cameroon. That's why we often say that when you see the government going to sign any military cooperation with any country now, they are saying that no, they are looking for ways to have weapons to come and killing Anglophones and all sort of things and as such. So I don't think there's any threat between the diplomacy between Cameroon and the United States and any of its international partners.
Ok.
Ok, merci Amadou Tanté. Lutte contre la corruption au Cameroun, c'est West Echo qui en parle ce matin. Il nous déclare que la CONAC déploie donc son plan d'action 2022 pour la région de l'Ouest Cameroun.
This issue of CONAC, every day we keep hearing of CONAC. We are trying to know what these CONAC people are doing, because we keep hearing of problems, corruption happening everywhere, embezzlement everywhere. The CONAC keeps seeing route plan, route map, and those stories sound so keep seeing. So we are not seeing the effect of what they are doing.
Do you really think corruption can be eradicated in Cameroon?
No, even if it's not completely eradicated, it can be limited, it can be reduced, because we are on a daily basis we are seeing billions of insurance savings that are being smuggled, that are being embezzled on a daily basis. But this CONAC, they keep singing songs telling us that this particular region has been tagged as the most corrupt. This other places, this other group of people, this other ministry, this other department, this other section, and we are not having any result. What actually these people are doing? Are they doing there? I don't know what actually these people are doing there. We are only hearing stories. So one action, one also tell us that
CONAC does not punish.
Yeah, in the CONAC have to follow up with identify the problem. Whether somebody has maybe embezzled.
They only report to the presidency.
They report to the presidency and make sure that they follow up the things to go well. Because we keep hearing stories. Which one have they reported? And initially they told us that people have been soon now, because the one for last year they only told us story like
but
that.
You have two lines now. You can call CONAC and you speak to CONAC directly. You call them and talk. Nobody will stop you from complaining to CONAC to find out if you can go to CONAC head office in Yaoundé. They will give you information as to that.
No, if they can only give information and they don't have that power to act, then it means that the institution.
The one man that has to act is the President of the Republic, Paul Biya. After the presentation of the report, he has to take major decisions now.
And he has not been taking any decision. That's where there's if there's a kid, then that's where there's a problem. The problem has not been taking any serious decision to make sure that these people are sanctioned. Those that are involved in this corruption or investment, these things are sanctioned accordingly. So giving way, the issue of bad governance here, the government, the president has turned blind eye to it.
We are talking about an entire government that is almost an entire government at the Kondingi maximum security prison. So when you talk about President Paul Biya not sanctioning, what do you mean exactly?
Sending them to prison is not what we really want here. I think even though they have might be sent to prison, we need to first of all do everything possible to make sure that we recover all the money that these people have stolen. Because sometimes we are hearing some ministers that are in Kondingi that they have more than 27 buildings across the nation, but they are not able to tell us that they have seized all the buildings or they have seized one of the buildings. And when it's
but there are some of the assets that they acquired genuinely.
No, but it's true that there are some that are acquired genuinely, but which are the ones that were not acquired genuinely? As the government sees them, no, I can't remember. Sometimes back I learned that an Anglophone for Zacchaeus Virginia, who was working at the Douala seaport here, Sanchez Naval, when the same thing happened to him, I was sent to prison. His houses were seized even to a level of his village. Houses were seized even at his village. And this, why are the one from this Bamleke or this Beti or Bulu people are different? We want them to, the government to seize all those things and say and tell them so that we have the money back on the public treasury.
Non, Amadou Tate, selon vous, la CONAC, elle ne devrait pas exister parce qu'elle ne prend pas d'action.
No, the CONAC, I don't think I'm not saying anything.
Do you know the salary of the
That's what they are doing. So that thing, all those things are always another way of wasting the taxpayers' money. Take some of money and give them for nothing. And they're doing virtually nothing. So those kind of things their existence is
no. How can you say they are doing nothing?
They are doing nothing.
If CONAC had not existed in Cameroon, it would have been worse. Would have been at a
on n'allait même pas savoir qu'il y a des détournements et.
No, even at the level of these ministries, we have a minister of this thing. There's a ministry that is in charge of all this. I don't even know how this government. They are only causing confusion. Sometimes there is an institution that is first of all playing a particular role in the same on the same
Supreme thing. State audit. You are talking about
Supreme State to bring confusion between.
You are talking about Supreme State audit.
Yeah, I think it should be
they only audit and bring back their reports.
When they audit and realize that there's mismanagement, they take that report and forward to the presidency. Isn't it going the same line with all these things they are talking about the CONAC doing? I think it seems to be virtually the same thing.
Why is it that not, as you are claiming, not even one of the institution concerned with fighting corruption is able maybe to fight the corruption? So what is happening?
No, the major problem is...
So you are saying CONAC is not supposed to exist?
That's what I'm saying, that the major problem
so it means that the Ministry of Supreme State Audit is not supposed to exist?
No, I said that the existence of the Ministry of Supreme State Audit would have not permitted the existence, would have not given chance for, but there was unnecessary for the government to be creating CONAC again, why having another, the Ministry of Supreme State Audit? Or maybe they withdraw that person from Ministry of Supreme State, from the Supreme State Audit and bring it to the CONAC here. Because it's really unnecessary creating all these things. Sometimes the government will create a position, they will give some different confusing ways. They don't, this one doesn't know which one role to play, and this one don't know which role to play. That will have a lot of conflict. See in what is happening in Cameroon. Sometimes we see a mayor is there fighting with the DO. The DO does not even know the limit of his own power. The mayor does not even know where he has to start. Sometimes there's a lot of confusion everywhere. At least we need to have clear text, some of the things that are clear defining the function of these people or these government officials, so that people should be able to act genuinely and know which direction they are going. You see,
so where are the consciences of Cameroonians?
No,
should we even have institutions that will be fighting corruption? Where are the consciences of Cameroonians?
No,
Cameroonians
doesn't longer have conscience. I think we have been saying, like SDF, you tried at the beginning here, you said SDF, Jonhson was talking of an issue of increment of salary, because I believe that the issue of the kind of salary we have in Cameroon here is one of the root cause of this issue of corruption.
Because you have low salary,
so people attempted to do otherwise. And there are some people that go and give 10, 15 million to enter into INAM, and once they come back, they are doing everything possible to first of all have that 10 or 15 million that they gave and entered INAM. So they do everything possible to recover their money. So every government could give you this.
The problem is the system.
The problem is the system. The problem is the system itself.
So what should be done now with the system?
So the government, the only thing I think should need to be done now is that we need to vote out the current regime, so that we have a new regime, new blood, new ideas, so that people could maybe to
Are Cameroonians ready to do that? Are Cameroonians ready?
No, Cameroon, I think by this coming 2025, Cameroonians should be ready. Even especially the youth. The youth need to wake up and do everything possible to do everything possible to make sure they vote out the current regime, for us to have, if possible, a young man who will be leading the country. So I think if that's the case, then we'll have a lot of positive changes in Cameroon. Things might not be the best, be 100%, but we'll have much more better than what is going on in Cameroon.
But they keep saying that their votes will be stolen. They cannot. Voting is useless.
No, the problem is that we don't only have to vote. When you go and cast your vote, make sure that you follow up your vote until they find and to be very sure that it ends anywhere. If you go and vote and realize that we are winning, like the other people are saying, we have to come out and claim our vote and claim our rights, because we need to vote and make sure that our votes are respected. If we realize that it's stolen, we have the right to come out and tell the people, tell the government that they need to do everything possible to make sure that they respect what the ballot boss.
Kamto tried and did not succeed.
We come to try and did not succeed, but I don't think it's come to still saying that he has not lost all the hope yet.
But his own was not a victory. Everybody saw proofs, even at the level of the courts, the highest court of the country, and he was still defeated at the level of that court.
A court that is made up of a member of a different political party. The leaders, the judge, are members of a political party. They are going to fight with him. How possible was it? Could that even be? Because some of those things were just made on formality. Because it's very clear that even the Clement Atangana, who is the president of the Constitutional Council, he too himself is a member of the CBT, and you expect him to do something against the will of his leader, the person who appointed him there. Impossible. That's an impossibility.
Des dépravations de mœurs qui se poursuivent au Cameroun. Un chef, le chef de Banca, si je ne me trompe pas, oui, a été ligoté et fouetté par ses subalternes à l'ouest du Cameroun. Où sont passées les mentalités des Camerounais, le respect du chef et consorts?
No, the thing here is that the first thing we need to respect our chiefs very well, for our forms, have everyone to respect them very well. But sometimes some of these chiefs actually going against the tradition. And if they go against the tradition, we need to do. These people need to do everything possible to call the chief to order. At least it's not everything that we have to agree on. Initially, they need to
call the chief to order. Ça veut dire le ligoter et le fouetter.
No, it doesn't mean that they should have to do that. At least the chief need to first of all, either if they are not they can drive him away, because the power belongs to those people. These people have the right to tell the man that you will no longer be our chef, and they drive the chef away and look for another chef and put there. So it's very possible. So these people initially they used to make us understand that you can, but everything that is said by the chief, it should be final. When he say yes, it should be yes. It doesn't. So it's not.
But that has always been like that. It has always been like that.
Because the people were ignorant. They never knew their rights. The people were ignorant. So you cannot. Even whether you are chief or not.
Est-ce que dans la tradition il y a les droits de l'homme?
Il y a le droit. Non, tout au Cameroun, il y a le droit au Cameroun. Tous ces droits appliquent à tous les Camerounais, à tous les villages, tous les qui sont au Cameroun. Ce n'est pas, il n'y a pas l'exception. Un tradition, the traditional, the right, the the laws within the laws, the custom or tradition cannot supersede the law, the national law. If there's something that is being done by a chief that is not correct, that is
that's why some of the chiefs, some of the kings in the northwest, they have been vomited by their subjects. We don't want to be calling names.
That is it.
Thank you, Kanti. Thank you for coming. Thank you to televiewers of My Media Prime Television for watching this other edition of the program, which was produced for us by Jonhson, Vola. We were Gwladys, Bomotonguina, and myself, Lasha. Tomorrow is another day. Bye-bye.